Hello, trading has closed on May 13th, 2022. Let's start with our disclaimer. It's my trading plan for Monday. I just fixed this. It moved on me. It's my trading plan for Monday, May 16th. Remember, it's a plan. I can change it. It can be wrong. So any trade you make should be at your own risk. I'm going to ask you to help me out if you bought my book and bought my webinar. I have people who ask me, does it really tell you the rules of the system? And do you need the webinar and the book? And I want to give truthful answers to people. So if you bought my webinar, bought the book, if you feel the book gave you the rules, please post that in the comments section below. If you feel the webinar gave you the rules, post that in the comments section below. If you think it was worth buying the webinar and the book, post it. If you think you don't need both of them, post that too. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me the truth. I want honest opinions so I can give people truthful answers. And even if someone else has already posted it, I'd appreciate getting as many opinions as I could get. End of speech. Okay, well, let's go over our calls. We looked for the pattern with the early high, so we certainly got that. And Monday I'm expecting the pattern with the early low. We tried to catch the falling knife, and so far it's worked. We call this as a good candidate for a major low, and this was certainly a big rally, and it can still be invalidated. You still have to trade past this for confirmation. I mean, if we gap under this Monday, the whole thing doesn't count, but for now at least I'm going to assume that's the right call, that we completed this leg down and we're now going to be trading up for a few weeks at least. This is what we said. We said was a strong candidate for the end of the decline. These are my calls for the daily patterns for next week. MEJT gave an ultimate buy signal in the afternoon. After it gave the buy signal, this means there's a higher target. It doesn't tell you the next move. We had this big drop, but eventually the target of the ultimate buy signal printed. So even if you didn't play it, at least you didn't have a reason not to climb on this train going south because there was a higher target telling you it wasn't going to stick. Well, this is a volume spike on the drop, and look what happened to the volume on the rally. It kind of tells me these aren't really enthusiastic buyers of stock, but I think a lot of people are short and they're going to be forced to cover before this rally's over. And once they've all covered, there's nothing to stop prices from dropping again, but I think we've completed the first ABC down. This is just a reminder of my rule. You gap under the line or the line wins. This was the line we showed earlier in the week. We didn't gap under it. I said I was suspicious of the break. Now we've traded much under it, and that, to me, means it was a false break. Now I've relabeled some of these ABC business here. I don't know if this is the right degree of the waves or not. I don't know if this is a magenta A or a blue A, and frankly, at this point, we don't have to know. I'm just afraid of counting too fast on this thing. This is a 12-year rally. I wouldn't expect any correction to be over in a month or two, or a few months. So we'll label them with this degree now, but we can always change the degree. And this is just a close-up here. We have this completing magenta A. Now, this really isn't a very healthy rally yet. Can all change at Monday's open. But we gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under all the highs. Here was the prior drop. And in spite of this big rally, we couldn't clear any of these highs from the prior drop. Now, Monday's open can substitute for today's close. And if we gap up here, all that negativity goes away. But for right now, even though I can't count this, I think that's an impulse. I think that's an ascending triangle, which occurs only in the fourth wave. I think that's a fifth wave. I think you could count this as an ABC. And if that's the right count, which we don't know for sure, I'd expect wave C to be longer than this, although it doesn't break any rules if it isn't. You can see that this recovery stopped right at the 38.2% retrace of this last drop. If we clear this, the next target would be the 61.8% retrace at around 41.36. That's over 100 handles higher. So if we gap up here, nothing is going to stop us from going that high. And that might happen. I don't know what's going to happen Monday. But if we don't gap up, even though I think we'll see this price at some point, it doesn't stop us from detouring a bit first. Well, Monday's pattern should have the early low. Doesn't mean you won't gap up. Still need confirmations of today's rally, but until proven otherwise, I'm assuming we made a major low yesterday, and if so, we'll likely rally for several weeks and several hundred handles. However, that doesn't require us to go higher Monday. We gapped up, hit a higher high, but closed under intraday highs. We stopped at a fib retracement of the prior drop without closing over relevant prior highs from that decline. The normally bullish pattern didn't close near its high. All these things argue for lower prices, not necessarily a lower close, printing Monday, unless we gap and promptly overtake today's high. And that's not impossible. So if we gap over here, we have a lot higher ahead of us, and I think we're going to have a good rally in any event if this bottom is really a low. But if we don't do that, I think we'll complete an ABC first. So Monday has the early low. Have a good weekend, everyone. And that's today's call.